Picture this. You walk into a lab full of microphones, soft fabric prototypes, and a whiteboard scribbled with verbs like add, consent, comfort. You're a compline student with a curious grin. Someone slides a small, humming gadget across the table and says, "Imagine it talks back safely. You sit down." The clock starts. This is your 3-minute tour of why computational linguistics and adult toys are the smartest, most human-centered research you can do right. First, language shapes desire, not in a salacious way, but in how people ask for what they want, how they say no, and how they repair a misunderstanding. Your first task, gold a tiny corpus of real, anonymized dialogue. Tag signals of consent, hesitation, joy, and discomfort. Notice how a single actually changes everything. Notice how tone, filler words, and timing matter more than fancy vocabulary. That's pragmatics in action, and it's gold for building responsive systems that respect people. Next, think of the toy as a multimodal conversational partner. It hears voice, senses motion, reads pressure and timing.
Computational models must fuse these streams.
A waveform shows nervous laugh. A pressure sensor shows a pause. Your job is to map those signals to save. Adaptive responses, not to teach explicit techniques, but to make interactions clearer, consensual, and pleasurable because they are understood. You'll prototype with simple classifiers, happy, neutral, stuff. Simple models, huge impact. Now the fun part, metaphors and semantic. People use coded language, playful metaphors, cultural references. Might mean a literal pause or an emotional reset. Frame semantics and metaphor theory help you decode this poetry. Annotate metaphors, train models that can tell the difference between flirtation and an actual request for a break. That distinction protects people. Ethics is not an add-on, it's the core. Privacy, anonymization, data minimization. Imagine a consent protocol where users can edit and review the dialogue logs before any model sees them. Imagine default settings that limit personalization, unless users opt in. And think about bias. Your model must work for different genders, accents, sexual identities, and culture. That requires inclusive data and careful evaluation. There are brilliant, practical mini projects you can start tomorrow. Build a consent detector that flags ambiguous phrases. Create a data set of prosodic cues for comfort versus discomfort. Simulate dialogues where the device offers safe ways to pause or change the script. Run user studies that focus on clarity and trust, not titillation, furling. Picture the payoff. Better sex education tools, chatbots that teach consent in classrooms, assisted devices for people with disabilities, and tech that amplifies agency instead of erasing. This work is both technical and tender. It asks you to code with empathy, to label with respect, and to design with consent at the center. So take that humming gadget, open a new notebook, and start annotating. In Compline, you get to make language safer, smarter, and more delightful. Go on. The data is waiting, the ethics board will listen, and your curiosity is exactly the right tool.